be reading a short little story about a lawyer who works to free innocent people who are in jail. So remember, we read, the previous story we read was about the guy who was in prison who got out because he was in there for a murder he didn't commit. Okay, so there's people and a lot of organizations now trying to find evidence to help people who are in prison get out. So this lady is a lawyer who is one of those people who helps those people get out of prison. So if you take a look at the pictures here on your page, okay, so if you take a look at the pictures here, so you see her working with somebody at the computer. Okay, here she's in front of pictures of probably looks like people that most likely have gotten out of prison, that she's helped get out of prison under the Innocence Project. Okay, and then this isn't a picture of her, but it looks like probably most likely somebody who got out of prison that's a success story. Okay, so so this lady, she's a defense lawyer, and a defense lawyer is somebody who represents somebody who is on trial. Okay? So, what do you guys think there are two qualities that help make up a good attorney? What would be two qualities that help make up a good attorney? So somebody that's going to defend you, a lawyer, what would be two qualities, at least one quality we can come up with? I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them what's something you'd want in an attorney who's going to help defend you in a court case. Turn to the person next to you and talk about it. What do you think, Charlie? What do you think? Something you'd want in an attorney to help defend in a court case.
I think I need somebody that was aggressive.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you want in a lawyer?
What qualities do you think an attorney should have? If you needed an attorney to defend you. For what?
All right. Okay. I think we're struggling to figure this out. Okay. So think qualities you want to maybe. Would you want them to be honest? They're defending you. Would you want them in terms of like? Would you want them to be honest to you if they're defending you?
Not to go take you out of court, like out of jail.
Okay, we're just gonna kind of move on past that. All right. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. As we read, we're gonna be prepared to identify two ways Karen Thompson helps her clients. Okay. So I'm just gonna read this little intro up here, and then we'll read the text on the next page. So the top of page 168. Okay. At the Innocence Project, Karen Thompson works to free people who have been convicted of crimes they did not commit. The Innocence Project frees people with DNA testing and with reforms to the criminal justice system. Okay, so over time, laws are changing to help people get out of prison or make it easier to get out of jail if they aren't guilty. Okay. So this is basically just a little interview with her. So remember, she's a defense attorney who helps get people out of prison. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna read the interview with her. Okay. So actually, before we read, just right here at the bottom of the page. So this is kind of talks about her profession really quick. So upside of her profession or being a defense attorney is that you're a respected person. So if you're a defense attorney, you're probably pretty respected because most likely you make a lot of money, okay, which helps your status in society always, anywhere you live most likely. Okay? And then the downside, stress and long hours. So if you have a job that you make a ton of money, most likely you're working really, really hard for that. So that could be a downside of it. Median salary, okay, what the average of people make, $86,000
a year.
A year. Okay, which is pretty good. Okay.
I mean, it's not amazing, but it's great.
It's pretty good. Okay, before we read though, there's a couple of vocabulary words here on the bottom of the page. So right at the bottom of page 169, you see this little gray box, the two vocab words. So before we read, we're going to go over those two vocab words. So I want you guys to find the first word with your pointer finger, point at it with your pointer finger. Okay, I like that Alicia's ready to go. Appreciate being ready to go back there, Dylan. Okay, so right there. Okay, yeah, right at the bottom of page 169, like the Braden has his pointer finger ready to go. Okay, so the first word, the word is litigate. What's that word, everybody?
Litigate.
Okay, so I know it's not as easy when you can't see my mouth and how to sound it, but okay, so litigate. What's that word, everybody?
Litigate.
Good, litigate. Okay, so litigate is to represent in court. Okay, so it's basically like a litigator is somebody that goes into court and argues for you. Okay, so think of like a middleman. You get an argument with your friend, and then your other friend comes in and they're like trying to work out a deal. They would be the litigator. Okay. Alright, the next word. The word is, find it, read it with me. The word is deprived. What's that word, everybody?
Deprived.
Okay, appreciate you reading out loud with me. Let's just say it one more time. The word is deprived. What's that word?
Deprived.
Deprived. Thanks for saying that with me. So deprived is having something taken away. So if I'm deprived of something, I get it taken away. So for example, in prison, they are deprived of access to like computers, for example. Okay, because they could look up naughty things, okay, or do bad stuff, communicate with people they shouldn't be, okay. What's something that you or your parents have ever deprived you of? They've taken away from you. I want you guys to think about that for the next 15 seconds. Think about something your parents have deprived you of. So you've wanted it, you've maybe had it, they took it away from you, okay, or they didn't let you have it or use it for whatever reason, okay. I want you to tell the person next to you, what's something your parents have deprived you of before? What's something they've taken away from you before? Okay, tell Michaela, you back in. Something your parents have deprived you of before, don't.
What's something that your parents have taken away from you and deprived you of?
PS4. Okay, Dylan, let's get that headphone taken out,
Take anything away
please.
from you?
That was just my
What about you?
I don't know yet.
You're probably a good kid.
Alright, what's something that your parents have deprived you of before? Alicia, thanks for raising your hand.
They take my phone.
Good. Okay, so they take your phone. Why would they take your phone? What's the reason why they would deprive you of it? Did you do bad things on it, maybe? Okay, what else? What's something your parents deprived you of, Charlie?
My PS4 because he's where I was talking to bad people.
Oh, okay, so they're worried that you're going to be online talking to bad people, so they deprive you of your PS4 to take it away, which is understandable. Because on online games, I mean, you get like little kids talking to old adults, and that can be, there's really immature young people and really immature old people, so. Yeah. What's something that your parents deprive you of, Michaela? What? You don't know? You don't anything they take away from you?
He's just such a good kid.
You're just so good, and you never do anything wrong. They just
Same
don't-
with me.
Yeah, they don't.
Don't eat.
They never like take away your access to your like iPad or something, or your phone, or your TV time. What about your privileges of staying up late?
Ooh, that's the one.
No. All right.
They don't keep.
I can stay up late unless if it's a school night.
Oh,
So they take away.
So on
Or
school.
unless we have to wake up early.
Well, see, those are.
So they deprive you of your sleep on a weekend that you have to wake up early to go do something, right? So yeah, that's a good example. Okay. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to read through this, okay? There's no questions really what we're writing or anything, so just I want you to be thinking about, though, what actions that Karen Thompson takes to help her clients. Okay, so after we read, we're going to list those off. So actions she takes, you guys don't need to write this, but okay, so the action she takes to help clients, which would be like prisoners. Okay, so after we read, you guys are going to help me list these off. Okay, so I need your pencil in hand because as we read, we might stop and underline some stuff here.
okay, again.
Okay. So page 169 here. Starting where, what made you become a lawyer? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read through this whole page. Okay, when I pause, I want everybody to say the word out loud. Okay, when we get to a spot in there where she's making an action to help the client, we're gonna underline it. Okay, just so we kind of know what's going on there. Alright, so question. Everybody point her finger up at the top there. Point her finger like a Charlie's ready to go. Appreciate being ready to go back there. McKaylee and Beckham. Okay, thank you, Alicia. Dylan, they see that pointer finger. Thank you for getting there. Okay, question. What made you become a lawyer? I became a
Lawyer.
good because I want to make a real difference in the world. I was always aware of people like Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, who used the law to fight. Good. Okay, follow on through pointer finger. Okay, for the equality of African American people. The law is one of the best tools we have to fight for justice. Okay. Okay, question. How did you become involved with the Innocence Project? What is your role? Good. So I'm right here, second A. Okay. I started my career at a large corporate law firm. Then I got lucky. Good. When a staff attorney position opened up at the Innocence
Project.
Okay, this isn't gonna work out if you're not following along with the pointer finger, because I've only got a few people doing it, and people that aren't following their pointer finger obviously don't know where we're at. That's the reason why I asked you to follow along with the pointer finger. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start back over right here, where it says I started my career. You don't need to underline this, but this is just where we're starting. Okay, so it's the second A. So pointer fingers. So if everyone's following along, we'll get through this quicker. Okay. You don't need to be super loud, but I just need to hear your voices, okay? I started my career at a large corporate law firm. Then I got lucky when a staff attorney position opened up at the Innocence Project. Good. I am first and foremost an advocate for my clients. I litigate post-conviction DNA cases to help criminal defendants prove their innocence. Good. Okay, so there's one thing that right there. So what does she do? What does it say in that sentence? That last sentence. What does she do? Okay, I'll kind of help us figure this one out. So she says, first thing, litigates post-conviction DNA cases. Okay, yeah, why don't we underline that? Okay, so litigate post-conviction DNA cases. Okay, so actions to help clients. So she litigates the post-conviction DNA case. So when a prisoner, for example, goes back to court with their DNA and they're trying to get freed, she's helping them. Okay, she's an attorney in the court. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, so underline right here. So litigate post-conviction DNA cases. Okay. Appreciate following along. All right. Okay, next question here. So next cue. So everybody find it with your pointer finger and make sure we're following along here. Okay. What do you like most about your job? Good. I love that I never have a dull moment. Every day is different because every case is different. Good. Sometimes I argue before judges. Sometimes I am on the phone with clients trying to reassure them. Sometimes I am asking district attorneys to consent to evidence testing. Good. Okay. I am always being challenged to do more and to be better. Good. Okay. Okay, so what's something in there that she does to help clients? There's a couple things in there. A few things. Okay, calls on the phone. Okay. Well, that's one thing. So on the phone with clients, trying to reassure them. So that's one thing. What else does she do? There's a couple other things in there. I want you guys to need to look back at me. To look. What's something else she does in there? What's something else that she does, Dylan? So all three things that she does start with sometimes. What's something she does, Dylan?
What does she say she does right?
Perfect. Okay. So sometimes, she's asking district attorneys to consent to evidence testing. Okay, so that's another thing. Next time for figuring it out. And there's one more thing in there. Okay. Starting with sometimes she does what? What is it, Beckham?
Judges.
Okay, so what about judges?
She argues before judges.
Good. So she argue before judges. That's another thing. Okay. So basically these three things. So sometimes she argues before judges. She's on the phone with clients to reassure them. So just letting them know that they're being taken care of. Okay. And she asks district attorneys to consent to evidence testing. Okay. What that means is basically a district attorney, okay, is like a government lawyer. Okay, so they're the person that prosecutes you. They're like trying to get you to go to jail. Okay, so if you're in the prison, the district attorney, they're kind of over. Usually, it's like a county. It's by county, right? Okay, so it's a county. So they're over counties. Okay, and if there's a case, for example, that's like really big, like a murder, they will look at it, the evidence and stuff, to make sure things are good. Okay, so the district attorney is somebody you would talk to if you would want your case overturned. Okay. All right. Next question. Scroll down, or I'm scrolling down. You look down. Okay. Question. Next question. Find that cue. What's the most memorable
Case.
Good, you've worked on. Okay? Everyone make sure to follow along right here. My most memorable case so far has to be that of Louis Fogel. In 1981, he was sent to
Prison.
Good, for murdering a 14-year-old
Girl.
Good. We had been told repeatedly that evidence from his case was lost. We found that evidence and conducted
Testing.
Good. Okay. Oops. So I'm just going to scroll down here. Okay. That, right up here, that testing revealed that Mr. Fogel was not responsible for the crime. Good. In August 2015, Mr. Fogel walked out of prison for the first time in 34 years. Wow. Can you imagine that? In the same building for 34 years. Same little room. Yeah. You think you have it bad right now living in your parents' house. Okay. Alright, last couple paragraphs here. Okay. Next question. Everyone make sure you know where we're at. Here, list of what advice? Okay. What advice do you have for... Okay, alright, we're starting back over. Okay, everyone find the question. Find the question and point your finger. Find the question and point your finger. Almost done here. Almost done. Okay. What advice do you have for...
Evidence.
What are you guys...
Where are you guys at?
Where are you guys at?
We're right here.
Where are we at?
We're on students.
Yeah, I just heard everybody say evidence. You guys just making stuff up now? Just the first word somebody says, everyone else just follows along? Come on. Okay, we need to read. Okay. So, what advice do you have for students, good, who are interested in law school? Okay. My advice, number one, make sure that it's what you really want. Okay, so if you ever thought about being a lawyer, make sure that's something you really want. Okay. Law school is very expensive, stressful, and challenging. Okay, it's very true. Challenging. Okay. Number two, be prepared to work. Brayden, do you know where we're at? Okay. Okay, be prepared to work. You won't be told you are doing a great job if you are not. Okay. So, for example, sometimes people motivate you by telling you you're doing great even if you're not always doing the best. Okay. Sometimes in the real world, like in law school, people aren't going to give you that little pat on the back if you're not doing a good job. If you're not doing a good job, you're not going to get that reinforcement. Okay? All right, last one here, last question. Starting with which right? Everyone follow along. We're almost done here. Which right in the Bill of
Right.
God do you think is the most important and why? Okay, so last paragraph here. Make sure we're paying attention. I think the Fifth Good Amendment is the most important because it touches on many freedoms good that we take for granted. Most important, we believe that no person should be deprived of life, liberty, good, or property without due process. Okay, so due process is just like the ability to fight for it, I guess, in court, maybe. Yeah. My work shows that things can go horribly wrong in our justice system, but the fact that I can work to reverse wrongful convictions shows how important it is to be protected by a system of law. Good. Okay. So, in some, you guys did a really good job following along there. So, hey, Jen, would you want to go around and hook them up with a piece of candy? Okay. Thanks so much for following along. So, in some countries, okay, the rule of law isn't as followed as it is in America. Okay, so in America, for the most part overall, laws are pretty followed. Okay, in some other countries in the world, okay, the citizens don't really have much say in the laws or have much freedoms and stuff. So if you get sent to prison, for example, in another country like China or North Korea, okay, there is no due process justice system for you to get a equal shot at getting out. Okay. Does anybody have any